January 29th, 1945, 2:47 p.m., a snow-covered farmhouse in Holzheim. Belgium First Sergeant Leonard Funk rounds the corner and his world stops. 90 German soldiers staring directly at him, half clutching rifles, the other half reaching for weapons. Piled in the snow, 4 American soldiers kneeling with hands clasped behind their heads. Captured. These Germans weren't supposed to be armed. 20 minutes ago, they were prisoners d'etat, captured during Funk's company assault on this frozen village. 4 guards watching them. That's all the men he could spare. Now, the tables have turned completely. A German officer storms forward, jamming an MP-40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach. He's screaming, face red, veins bulging. Pure rage in a language Funk doesn't understand. The sergeant looks at 90 enemy soldiers, looks at his 4 disarmed men, looks at the weapon pressed against his gut, and he starts laughing. The German officer's confusion turns to fury. He screams louder. Funk laughs harder, doubling over, shoulders shaking. What happens in the next 60 seconds will leave 21 Germans dead, the rest surrendering for the second time, and Leonard Funk wearing the Medal of Honor for one of the most audacious acts in World War II history, all because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. entered the world on August 27, 1916, in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania. Steel Town. Smokestacks lining the Monongahela River, 8 miles from Pittsburgh. He grew up fast in a place that demanded it. By high school graduation in 1934, he'd spent years caring for his younger brother. The Great Depression had been crushing America for 5 years. Jobs, scarce. College, a fantasy for families like his. June 1941, war engulfs Europe and Asia. Congress extends the draft. Funk's number comes up. He reports to Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania for induction. 24 years old, 5'5", 140 pounds. The examiner probably thinks, desk duty. They're dead wrong. Funk volunteers for the paratroopers as suicide, mission to most soldiers in 1941. American airborne forces barely exist. The concept is radical. Jump from perfectly functional aircraft, land behind enemy lines, fight while surrounded. Airborne training is designed to break you. 5 weeks of running, jumping, climbing, falling. Brutal conditioning that eliminates half the candidates. Then the towers, then stepping out of a C-47 at 1,200 feet. While everything in your body screams to grab the doorframe, Funk earns his wings, gets assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment at Camp Landing, Florida. Late 1943, the 508th ships to England. Joining the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-Americans, veterans of Sicily and Italy who've already tasted combat and watched friends die, Funk is the new guy. 27, ancient by paratrooper. Standards when most squad mates are barely 20, but Funk possesses something they lack: maturity, steadiness, quiet competence that makes men follow you into hell. By D-Day, he's a squad leader. By Holzheim, he'll be acting company executive officer. First, though, he has to survive Normandy, June 6, 1944, 1:30. A.M. The C-47 Skytrain shudders as flak explodes around it. Funk stands in the stick-the-line of paratroopers waiting to jump. 60 pounds of equipment. M1A1 Thompson submachine gun. K ammunition, grenades, rations, medical kit. The aircraft flies at 400 feet. Too low for safety. Da-da-da-da-da. But the pilots can't climb German. Anti-aircraft fire fills the sky. Tracers arc through darkness like angry fireflies. Metal fragments ping against the fuselage. 13,000 paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne are dropping into Normandy tonight, tasked with securing bridges and crossroads, preventing German reinforcements from reaching the invasion beaches. Nothing goes according to plan. Green light. Funk jumps. The prop blast hits like a truck. The chute deploys. The world goes silent. Below, occupied France. Enemy territory in every direction. German anti-aircraft fire scatters formations across 50 miles of French countryside. land in flooded fields, drowning under equipment weight. Others drop into German camps and die before cutting free from harnesses. Funk lands hard. His ankle twists, badly sprained, possibly fractured. Every step will be agony for 2 weeks, but he can walk, he can fight. It's all that matters. He gathers his chute, buries it, starts moving. 40 miles from his drop zone. 40 miles of German-held territory. Darkness alone. Within hours, he's collected 18 lost paratroopers from different units, companies, regiments, all looking for leadership. Funk provides it. For 10 days, Funk leads this group through enemy territory, traveling at night, hiding by day, fighting when necessary, insists on serving as lead scout despite his injured ankle. He's putting himself in maximum danger to protect his men. June 17th, they link up with Allied forces. Every single man survives, not one casualty. 10 days behind enemy lines. 40 miles of occupied France. Leonard Funk brings them all home. The silver-starred highest combat decoration, plus a bronze star for meritorious service, plus his first Purple Heart. Funk is just getting started. September 17, 1944, Holland. Operation Market Garden, the largest airborne assault in history. 35,000 paratroopers dropping into the Netherlands to capture bridges across the Rhine. British, American, Polish forces jumping together if it works. The Allies reach Germany by Christmas. Field Marshal Montgomery's plan is ambitious. Perhaps too ambitious. Paratroopers must capture and hold 7 bridges across 64 miles of Dutch territory. Ground forces will race up a single highway to link up. Everything depends on speed. Surprise. Nothing going wrong. Everything goes wrong. The British. First Airborne lands at Arnhem, the farthest bridge. They're surrounded by SS Panzer divisions that weren't supposed to be there. For 9 days they fight and die in the streets. Only 2,000 of 10,000 escape. A bridge too far enters military history, but Leonard Funk doesn't know about the big picture. He knows his mission: support landings, secure drop zones, kill Germans. After touching down, his company secures their objective. Standard operation. The 508th operates near Nijmegen, capturing bridges for the ground advance. Then Funk notices. Something wrong? 3 German 20mm Flakvierling? Anti-aircraft guns firing at incoming Allied gliders carrying reinforcements? Jeeps, artillery, ammunition, medical supplies. If those guns keep firing, hundreds die before touching ground. The position sits dug in on high ground near Vauxhall. Approximately 20 German soldiers, manning weapons and providing security, sandbags, camouflage, interlocking fields of fire. Funk has 3 men. Standard doctrine requires 3-to-1 advantage for assaulting prepared positions. Funk faces the opposite, outnumbered. 7-2-1, he attacks anyway. Leading from the front, Funk and his 3-man patrol assault the German position. They kill the security detachment, storm the gun emplacements, neutralize all 3 weapons and crews. 20 Germans, 3 Americans. Guns fall silent. The gliders land safely. The Distinguished Service Cross, second highest decoration for valor. 1 step below the Medal of Honor, Funk now has a silver star and DSC, 2 of the rarest combat decorations in the American military. Most soldiers, earning even 1, are considered lifetime heroes. Funk still isn't finished. December 16, 1944, the Germans launched their final desperate offensive. 3 armies, 400,000 men, 1,400 tanks, 1,900 artillery pieces. They crashed through American lines in the Ardennes forest, aiming for Antwerp. Hitler's plan is insane, but nearly works, gambling everything on one massive attack to split Allied armies. Capture Antwerp, force negotiated peace in the West so Germany can focus on the Soviets. For Americans, it's a nightmare. The offensive hits thinly held sectors manned by green troops and exhausted veterans pulled offline to rest. Entire divisions crumble. Thousands surrender. The German advance creates a bulge 50 miles deep in Allied lines. The Battle of the Bulge. The largest battle the American Army fights in World War II. 9,000 American casualties before it ends. The weather is brutal. Snow, ice, temperatures dropping to 5 below zero. Men freeze to death in foxholes. Weapons jam. Vehicles won't start. The cold is as deadly as the Germans. Then comes Normandy. December 17th, 1944. One day into the offensive. A convoy from the 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion runs into camp for Piper and SS Armored Battle Group near the Bognez Crossroads. The Americans are rear echelon troops, artillery observers, radio operators, not equipped for fighting tanks and armored infantry. After brief engagement, 113 Americans surrender. They're herded into a farmer's field, hands up, disarmed, prisoners of war. Then the SS opens fire. Machine guns, pistols, rifles. The Germans shoot them down like cattle. Men trying to run are cut down. Wounded are finished with headshots. 84 Americans die in that field. Some survive by playing dead. Lying in snow for hours while German boots walk past, German voices laughing. When darkness comes, 43 survivors crawl away to American lines. The news spreads through the American army within hours. The Germans are executing prisoners. Normandy changes everything. Before the European war had rules, unofficial, unspoken, but real. Soldiers surrendered when hopeless. Prisoners were treated according to Geneva Convention. A grim professionalism existed between enemies. After Normandy, rules vanish. American soldiers swear never to surrender to the SS. Some units pass down orders, no SS prisoners. When Funk hears about the massacre, something hardens inside him. He's already seen too much Normandy, Holland, friends dying across Europe, but this is different. This is murder, cold-blooded execution of men who surrendered in good faith. Leonard Funk decides he will never surrender to the Germans, no matter what. That decision will matter very soon. The German offensive is broken. Now the Allies push back. Company C, 508th Parachute Infantry, receives orders to capture the Belgian village of Holzheim. There's a problem. Company C is under strength. Executive officer second in command has been killed. He lacks sufficient men for assault. Funk, now acting executive officer, looks at his depleted roster and makes a decision. He walks to the company headquarters tent. Inside, clerks, supply personnel, cooksmen who normally never see combat. You're all infantry now, Funk tells them. Grab your weapons, we're taking that village. He forms a makeshift platoon. 30 men who've spent most of the war behind desks. They've had basic training, sure, but real combat. Most have never fired at another human being. Funk doesn't care. He needs bodies. He'll make them soldiers. The march to Holzheim is 15 miles through waist-deep snow in a driving blizzard. Temperatures well below freezing. German artillery shells explode around them, harassing fire from the flanks. Funk leads from the front. They reach Holzheim. Funk organizes the assault. His clerks, his makeshift warriors, follow him into the village. 15 houses. Germans in. Every one. Machine guns, rifles, grenades. Funk and his men clear them all. 30 prisoners captured. Not one American casualty. Another unit captures 50 more Germans on the town's other side. 80 prisoners total, corralled in a farmhouse yard. Funk looks at his exhausted men. They've been marching and fighting for hours. Resistance continues in other village parts. Scattered German soldiers who haven't surrendered. He can only spare. For men to guard prisoners. Keep them here, he tells the guards. We'll send reinforcements when we can. Funk heads back into the fight, unaware of what's about to happen behind him. While Funk clears the rest of Holzheim, a German patrol approaches the farmhouse. 10 men, maybe 20. Wearing white camouflage capes over uniforms, in the snow and confusion. They look almost identical to American troops in winter gear. For guards don't realize the danger until too late. The Germans overwhelm them, disarm them, force them to their knees. Then they free the prisoners. 80 German soldiers plus the patrol that freed them. It's 90 men total. They grab weapons from the pile. They organize quickly, knowing exactly their plan. Attack Company C. From the rear, Funk's company is scattered across the village, mopping up resistance. They're not expecting attack from behind. If 90 Germans hit them while spread out, it'll be massacre. The German officer, probably a lieutenant or captain, begins, giving orders. Position machine guns here. Set up ambush there. Wait for my signal. That's when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. Funk has come to check on prisoners. Routine. Make sure guards are okay. See if reinforcements arrived. He's not expecting. 90 armed Germans. He rounds the farmhouse corner and freezes. The scene is surreal. His 4 guards kneel in snow. The prisoners who should be unarmed and contained stand everywhere,
rifles in hands,
organizing for battle. The German officer spots Funk immediately. The first sergeant's stripes on his sleeve mark him as a leader, a prize. The officer strides forward, shoves his MP-40 into Funk's stomach. Screams a command in German. Surrender. Drop your weapon. Except Funk doesn't speak German. He has no idea what the officer is saying. The officer screams again, louder. Face reddens. Veins bulge in his neck. Funk looks around. 90 Germans, half-armed. 4 men disarmed and helpless. 1 other American soldier standing beside him, equally helpless. The mathematics of survival are 0. No scenario exists where Leonard Funk wins this fight. He's outnumbered 90-2-1. The sensible thing, the rational thing, is surrendering. But Funk remembers Normandy. 84 Americans murdered in a field, shot like animals, left to freeze in snow. He's already decided he'll never surrender to the Germans. So instead of complying, Leonard Funk does something inexplicable. He starts laughing. Nobody knows exactly why Funk laughed. Maybe it was tactical, a deliberate ploy to confuse the enemy. And by time, maybe it was stress. The human brain does strange things. It's facing certain death. Maybe it was genuine amusement at the absurdity. An officer screaming in a language Funk couldn't understand, expecting compliance. Funk himself later said he tried to stop laughing but couldn't. Something about the German screaming just touched a nerve. Whatever the reason, the effect is devastating. The German officer screams louder. Funk laughs harder, bending over, shoulders shaking. He calls out to his men. I don't understand what he's saying. Some German soldiers start laughing too. Tension becomes bizarre, their officer turning purple with rage, while this American won't stop cackling. The officer is completely thrown. This isn't how prisoners behave. They beg, they plead, comply. They don't stand there laughing while you shove a gun in their stomach. For a few critical seconds, the German officer doesn't know what to do, and Leonard Funk uses those seconds. Still appearing to laugh, Funk slowly reaches up toward his Thompson submachine gun slung over his shoulder, standard carrying position for paratroopers. The German officer watches. This is good. The American is finally surrendering his weapon. Funk's hand closes around the Thompson's grip. He begins to unsling it. Slowly, carefully, the German relaxes slightly. He's about to have another prisoner, another trophy. Then Funk moves, in one motion. It's faster than thought. He swings the Thompson down, brings the muzzle into line, and squeezes the trigger. The M1A1 Thompson fires .45 ACP rounds at 600 per minute. At close range, each round hits like a sledgehammer. The bullets don't just wound, they destroy. The first burst catches the German officer in the chest, 30 rounds in less than 3 seconds. The officer is dead before hitting the ground. Funk doesn't stop, can't start. The moment he started shooting, he committed to killing everyone, or dying. Himself, no middle ground exists. He pivots, still firing. The Thompson sprays an arc of lead across the German soldiers nearest him. Men scream, men fall. Blood sprays across snow. Brass casings tumble through the air, steaming in the cold. The magazine runs dry. 30 rounds gone in seconds. This is the critical moment. Thompson takes 2 seconds to reload if you're practiced. 2 seconds is forever in a firefight. 2 seconds is enough time for 90 Germans to kill 1 American. Funk yanks the empty magazine out, slams a fresh one in, racks the bolt, and keeps shooting. The whole sequence takes less than a heartbeat. Muscle memory, thousands of training. Hours compressed into one fluid motion. Simultaneously, he's screaming at his men, "Pick up their weapons! Pick up their weapons!" 4 guards still on their knees scramble for rifles dropped by dead Germans. Seconds ago, they were prisoners. Now, they're fighting for their lives. The Germans are in chaos. Their officer is dead. The American who was laughing is now killing them. Nobody gave orders for this. Nobody knows what to do. Some shoot back. Bullets crack past Funk's head. One round kills the soldier standing beside him. Funk keeps firing, moving, killing. His guards have weapons now. They're shooting too. The Germans are caught in a crossfire they never expected. 60 seconds. That's all it takes. 21 German soldiers lie dead in the snow. 24 more wounded. The rest, more than 40, have thrown down weapons and raised their hands. The prisoners are prisoners again. Leonard Funk stands in the middle of carnage. Smoke rising from his Thompson, surrounded by bodies. That, he says to his men, was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. The aftermath is almost anticlimactic. Company C secures Holzheim. The captured Germans, the survivors. Anyway, are marched to the rear under much heavier guard this time. Funk reports the incident to his commanding officer. Just another firefight. It's just another day in the war. But the story spreads. Through the regiment, through the division, through the entire 82nd Airborne, the sergeant who laughed at 90 Germans and killed half of them with a Tommy gun. When the Medal of Honor recommendation reaches Washington, nobody questions it. What Funk did at Holzheim is beyond dispute. Outnumbered. 90-1. Enemy weapon in his gut. And instead of surrendering, he attacked. The official citation reads, "He was ordered to surrender by a German officer who pushed a machine pistol into his stomach. Although overwhelmingly outnumbered and facing almost certain death, First Sergeant Funk, pretending to comply with the order, began slowly to unsling his submachine gun from his shoulder, and then, with lightning motion, brought the muzzle into line and riddled the German officer. He turned upon the other Germans, firing and shouting to the other Americans to seize the enemy's weapons." September 5, 1945. The White House. President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. "I would rather have this medal," Truman says, "than be President of the United States." Let's count what Leonard Funk earned during World War II. Medal of Honor for Holzheim Distinguished Service Cross for the Anti-Aircraft Guns and Holland Silver Star. For leading 18 men through 40 miles of enemy territory in Normandy Bronze. Star for Meritorious Service. Heart 3 of them. Wounded 3 separate times and kept fighting, plus the Croix de Guerre from France, the Order of Leopold from Belgium, the military. Order of William from the Netherlands, their equivalent of the Victoria Cross. Leonard Funk is the most decorated paratrooper of World War II, 5'5", 140 pounds. A former store clerk who became a legend. The war ends. Funk goes home. He doesn't write a book, doesn't do the lecture circuit, doesn't turn his Medal of Honor into a speaking career or a political platform, doesn't cash in on fame. He goes back to Pennsylvania and gets a job with the Veterans Administration, the VA. It's the massive bureaucracy responsible for caring for America's former soldiers, helping other veterans navigate paperwork, processing disability claims, cutting through red tape for men who'd given everything and now needed help getting what they were owed, the same kind of clerk work he did before the war, the same quiet, unglamorous, necessary work. For 27 years, Leonard Funk sits at a desk and helps veterans. He rises through the ranks, becomes division chief of the Pittsburgh Regional Office. Good salary, steady hours, pension waiting at the end. His wife Gertrude sticks with him through all of it. They have 2 daughters. They live in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, working-class neighborhood in a working-class town, not far from where he grew up. The Medal of Honor hangs in a case somewhere. The Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star. All the foreign decorations from France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. He never talks about them. When people ask about Holzheim, about the laughing, about the 90 Germans, he shrugs it off. Did what I had to do. That's it. That's all he ever says. November 20th, 1992. Braddock Hills, Pennsylvania. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. dies of cancer. He's 76 years old. They bury him at Arlington National Cemetery, Section 35, grave 23734. Among the heroes of every American war at the time of his death, he's the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the 82nd Airborne Division in World War II, a fitness center at Fort Bragg. Now, Fort Liberty is named after him. A highway in Pennsylvania bears his name. Post office in McKeesport was dedicated to him in 2023. But most people have never heard of Leonard Funk. They know Audie Murphy. They know Alvin Yorks, the famous Medal of Honor recipients. They don't know the short, quiet paratrooper who laughed at 90 Germans and killed 21 of them with a Tommy gun. Here's what the story of Leonard Funk tells us. War doesn't favor the big. It doesn't favor the strong. It doesn't favor the reckless or the fearless. War favors the ones who keep thinking when everyone else has stopped. At Holzheim, Leonard Funk had every reason to surrender. The math was impossible. 90 against 1. A gun in his stomach. His men already captured. Any rational person would have given up. But Funk wasn't thinking about the math. He was thinking about Normandy, about 84 Americans murdered in a field, about what the Germans did to prisoners, and he was thinking about his men. The 4 guards on their knees. The soldiers scattered across the village who would be hit from behind if these Germans escaped, so he laughed. Maybe as a tactic. Maybe from stress. Maybe because the whole thing struck him as absurd. And while the German officer was confused, while everyone was off balance, Leonard Funk made his move. 60 seconds later, he was standing in a field of bodies, live when he should have been dead. There's a quote often attributed to President Truman about the Medal of Honor. I would rather have this medal than be President of the United States. He said it to Leonard Funk, September 5th, 1945, the White House Rose Garden. Think about that. It's the most powerful man in the world, standing before a 5'5" former store clerk from Pennsylvania, saying he would trade everything, the presidency, the power, the legacy, for what that small man earned in 60 seconds of controlled violence in a Belgian farmhouse. Because Leonard Funk didn't just survive an impossible situation, he won it against mathematics, against logic, against every conceivable odd. He won because when death stared him in the face and demanded surrender, he chose to laugh instead. And in that laughter, in that moment of pure audacity, he found the split second he needed to turn certain death into impossible victory. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's the kind of courage that changes history one farmhouse, one moment, one decision at a time. Leonard Funk went home, hung up his medals, and spent the rest of his life helping other veterans fill out paperwork. He never sought glory, never demanded recognition, never traded on his fame. He did what he had to do. Then he went back to work. And maybe that's the most remarkable thing about him. Not the 60 seconds in Holzheim, not the medals, not the impossible. Odds overcome. But the fact that after doing the extraordinary, he returned to the ordinary without hesitation and found meaning there too. That's the measure of a hero. Not just what you do when the world is watching, but what you do when it is. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was a hero twice. Once in a Belgian farmhouse in 60 seconds of violence, and again for 27 years at a desk, helping other heroes find their way home.